All right, welcome back to Late Night Lately, the late night show, the premier late night show podcast for cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, cpluscomedy.com. It's a website. Go there. Here we are, Late Night Lately, episode 6. We have a monologue. I think we should get to it. Also, this is from last week, so let's not pretend that. No, let's go ahead and pretend. Let's pretend that this is on time, and it's not March 28th, and it's not 5 days late. All right, the CEO of TikTok appeared in front of bipartisan senators to answer their questions, in regards to the app's use of users' data. They also took the chance to ask questions including, do I look yassified in my bounce when she walk dance video? Quick note, I had to look up the last sentence, and I had to find two elements that fit within, and let's just say that it's already put me out of touch. A grand jury is set to indict Donald Trump for hiding hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels has yet to make a decision on the indictment, so it looks like my March Madness bracket is done for. The rapper Afro Man is being sued by the Ohio Police Department for, quote, humiliation, ridicule, mental distress, embarrassment, and loss of reputation after they raided his home in order to find drugs, but didn't find anything, which means my lawsuit against Wrangler for those jeans that made my butt look too big and my crotch too small sounds pretty legit right about now. Elon Musk sent out an email at 2:30 a.m. to workers at Twitter saying that working from home is no longer viable. Hey, it could have been worse. He could have sent a picture of his penis, which I heard he nicknamed Mr. Mixelplex. Little note about that joke. I wrote down Mr. Mixelplex. If you don't know who he is, he's from Superman, and he is a magical being that you have to say his name in order to get him to stop making magic happen around you. And I spelled his name correctly with the exception of the T that comes after the P. I put the T before the P. Means nothing to someone who's not a nerd. And according to a report, Elon Musk was said to have walked off the board of OpenAI after they refused to sell the company to him in 2018. An offer Grimes and Siobhan Zillis should have taken, and that SpaceX flight attendant did. And that was a monologue. That was a joke about sexual harassment. There we go. Let's get into the show. Last week, Al Franken took over at The Daily Show. And boy, oh boy, let me tell you, did he bring some Frankenness to the show. I watched, again, majority of the episodes. I don't want to spend time watching every single episode. But I know Al Franken. I don't know him personally. I know Al Franken, and I know what he's done in the world of comedy. And I thought this was going to be a good time, and it was. He, not unlike D.L. Hughley and not unlike Wanda Sykes, and I know it sounds like I'm being ageist, but I'm really not trying to be. But not unlike those people, he was delivering jokes kind of in a slower manner. With that being said, Wanda Sykes is a much better comedian than both of those guys. Al Franken, he hasn't lost his step since his comedy days, SNL and everything. However, I do think that Wanda, as a practicing comedian, she is much better than Franken. And you know what? I think his turn at the desk was great. The problem is I'm looking at the numbers now. His monologues did really well, especially compared to Kal Penn. His monologues did well with those numbers, and that's what you want. His interviews, with the exception of one, I think that they did not give him people who were good enough to work with. It's Kal Penn was able to bring, even though his numbers did not do very well, he was able to bring President Biden, and Marlon Wayans was able to sit down with Omar Epps, who he knew for a long, who's known forever. We've got Hassan, got Rebel Wilson, but Al Franken. It seems to me that this week was just in terms of, or that past week was just a week of slowness for news and a slowness for people who have availability. but he did a very admirable job delivering the monologues and playing along with the bits that were positioned to him. Now I want to get to the very first thing. It was the first. This happened Monday night. He interviewed Lindsey Graham, which is very interesting because the two men apparently know each other rather, but the interview was not without its common decency as well as a terse tenseness between the two of them. Franken would come out much like a Trevor Noah, much like a Chelsea Handler, much like a Sarah Silverman, and just ask or allude to blatant questions about the state of the United States and Donald Trump and things of that nature. But Lindsey Graham is just such a disgusting, callous human being that that he would just dance around those, or he would just back Donald Trump. Now that being said, there were moments where like he. And I mean, even the audience, like Lindsey Graham, the audience, and Al Franken, and even you, the viewer at home, would be like, yeah, like would agree on something along the lines of, I don't know, like TikTok or what have you. But then he would come out and say like something that would in agreement with Trump. And it makes it's so crazy how a human being can think like this. It really takes me back to the episode, the interview that Trevor did with Tommy Loren, and I think that is probably one of the best interviews that has been handled on the Daily Show. I mean, I didn't watch, the 9/11 episode. Listen here, weapon of mass destruction. He's just like talking to a missile. Oh my God. I saw John Wick Chapter 4. Fantastic. Shouldn't be the last one. That's all I'm saying. And let's get back. But the Tommy Loren interview is definitely one of my favorite interviews in late night. Probably not in just late night, but in general. Because it brings somebody who does not agree with the host, somebody who's willing to stand up for their beliefs and thoughts, and to come to this show and basically be a target and attempt to handle their own. And Trevor, I think he would have done well without an audience. I think he did a really good job. I think he did a 10 out of 10 job, but I think he would have done better without an audience because his audience was so adamant on showing how much they dislike Tommy. And the same thing goes for this Lindsey Graham, albeit too at a smaller extent. It's crazy. Like Lindsey Graham even like told jokes, and Al Franken did say that that Lindsey Graham was the funniest senator out there. But it's just we like it's you remember you're supposed to remember even when like before someone's death that this person is a monster and just a horrible human being. And then when they die, you're supposed to celebrate them, like John McCain. And it's just so it's wild and crazy to me to think that like Lindsey can come here and like stand up for, just the wrong ideals. But Franken definitely did a good job and really covered himself well in that interview. 20 minutes. And then the funny thing is, Franken, this is something I do not see happen, and if it does happen, it does not happen often during late night or even talk shows in general, is that Franken ends the interview, and I want to confirm that I am correct. He ends the interview, and then Lindsey just kind of goes, all right, this is easier than I thought. He just stands up and he like takes off his It's not in this. It's not in the 20-minute cut, but it is on the television cut where Franken's like talking and Lindsey like takes off his battery pack and like starts to walk out. It's such a funny thing. Such a funny thing to me. And then after that, we only have like 3 clips to talk about. Jimmy Fallon had Jimin on from BTS, and Jimin was talking about his own release. I believe is an EP. and it's a great little EP. But Jimin came to the Daily Show to Tonight Show to hang out with Jimmy, and I would include the interview, but neither of the men were able to really say much because it was horrible. It was a bad interview, not because of them, but because of the fans. And this is another time where it doesn't matter if you bring like a boy band superstar or even just a singer, a very popular singer, people are going to freak out and clap. Like you could have, the best actor, Tom Hanks. You could have Denzel Washington. Let me name somebody younger and who's not a man. You could have Cynthia Erivo there. I could not think of anybody else. I got to think of a woman. But you could have anybody else, and it will not stand the test of time to in that seat to a singer, period, or a musician who is super popular, period. Doesn't matter. And Jimin came by the show. He did a little bit where Fallon showed him that he was a super fan. And again, don't watch the interview. It's just girls screaming. There's at the beginning, there's one girl that's like, "I love you," like she doesn't like they're all finished screaming, and she goes, "Oh, I love you," or something along those lines. It's very crazy. Anyway, Jimin came by and did that. And then what else is going on? And the final thing, Teyana Taylor came to Jimmy Kimmel Live. And she talked about everything about teaching Beyonce dance moves. It's not often that you see Teyana Taylor popping up in the world, and I say that because she does not pop up in my world often. But I like her a lot. I think she's a very attractive person. She's a great singer, also very attractive, and but I'm glad to see her out and about talking about. What is she promoting? I couldn't even tell you what she was promoting. 1001 looks like a drama. It's coming out March 31st. Yeah. Looks like she promoted that. I don't know. I don't know what she was promoting. Anyway, she's a great singer. She's a great dancer, and she's a very attractive person. And I'm glad that she was able to come to Jimmy Kimmel's show and talk about dancing with Beyonce. Man. And her husband, Iman Shumpert, whatever. All right, let's get into the final stories for the day. More guest hosts have been announced for The Daily Show, and they include people who are currently on The Daily Show. Jordan Klepper, Desi Lydic, Dulce Sloan, and Michael Costa, you might know as correspondents on The Daily Show, are all hosting in late April and early May. We also have Lewis Black, who used to be a correspondent, Roy Wood Jr., and Desi Lydic. And both of the latter two are mentioned to be, rumored to be the co-hosts for the show when all is said and done with this guest hosting thing. Now, it's interesting. The guest host dynamic is really, really good. I'm really enjoying, even when, D.L. Hughley isn't standing up to I already had that on there. Okay, well, interesting. Even if D.L. Hughley isn't exactly the person to take over the role for a week, I do think it's so much better to have the writers every single week blend the Daily Show's current crop of comedy with this new person coming in, and I think that could really, it could really, let me finish my thought. It could really help out not in the long run. I think it could really help out the show and bring different voices and bring different awareness and everything. And also, it's a good gimmick. It's a really good gimmick. If Paramount, which owns Comedy Central, which airs The Daily Show, and it also owns CBS and airs The Late Show and Late Late Show, if the rumor is true that The Late Late Show is not being revived or being kept, and it's going to be turned, and they're bringing back at midnight, then why not try this? Why not try the guest host thing? Now, this from Deadline, Peter White says The Daily Show finds rating success with guest hosts as correspondents take claim for the hot seat. And again, the rumor is Desi Lydic and Roy Wood Jr. are set to take over the show as co-hosts. We don't know. That's a big room. We don't know. But the first quarter of the hosts have really, really done well. Leslie Jones started on January 17th, and the first quarter, the ratings are up 13% compared to when Trevor Noah was host in 2020, in the first quarter of 2022. On the social side, views are up 16% this period compared to last year. That's and apparently that's done without a lot of marketing. I think you only know if the host is really hosting if you watch Comedy Central. I'm not watching The Late Show. I'm not watching I don't know, The Flash and seeing commercials for The Daily Show and saying John Leguizamo is hosting this week. If you watch Comedy Central, if you watch reruns of South Park or episodes of Dig Man, then you're going to see, which I've yet to see. I've recorded it. We'll see what happens. But you don't know who's going to host until until it's that, like, if you're a regular person, until it's that Tuesday morning and you see the clips roll in. It's a really good take for them. I really do think it's a great take for them. It's good energy, and we can see how it's going to work out for them at the start of the summer when they take a hiatus, which I can only assume will be for 3 or 4 months like it was last time, which is ridiculous. Now, with all that being said, Jason Zinnemann for the New York Times agrees with me. What if The Daily Show used guest hosts permanently? And it's been exciting to see somebody like Hassan sit down and take over for a week, and see how Netflix was wrong in canceling his show, and then watch Chelsea Handler, and this thing actually happened. Chelsea Handler is so good. She's so good. And to see Sarah Silverman be fantastic. And why did Hulu cancel that show? Zinnemann talks about Zimmerman. Oh, boy. I wonder how he's doing. Probably still shooting teenagers. Zinnemann has advocated in the past for Roy Wood Jr. to fill in the shoes for the show. But after watching this, he really suggests why not take the temporary guest host permanent. Late Night with Seth Meyers has shrewdly filled the role that Stewart's desk pieces once played by providing funny, progressive-leaning deadline comedy and the big news of the day. As for the prickly interviews that Stewart made famous on Comedy Central, you can now see them on Apple TV Plus, or more likely social media where they go viral. The Daily Show remains a beloved institution with strong comedic bones, primed for exploitation. It has always featured one of the best supporting casts in comedy with its team of correspondents. Which is great. Yeah, which is true. It would work out. Again, I think seeing how they could blend everybody's different versions of comedy could really work. And now he's getting to a point where he's talking about Zinnemann in this New York Times piece, where he's talking about when Carson would stop hosting the Tonight Show on Mondays, I believe. And he would have, or he would just go off and be on vacation, and then they would have guest hosts. We got people like Joan Rivers. Who else filled in for Carson? Joan Rivers, and I think, God, who am I forgetting? Carson fill in hosts. Gary Shandling, Jay Leno, Bob Newhart, Joey Bishop. Excuse me. Hold on. I went back to Joey Bishop. That was in the 60s. No. Joan Rivers, Newhart, David Brenner. It's 1970. Jesus. No. David Brenner, McLean Stevenson, Jerry Lewis, Letterman. Sammy Davis Jr., he was the first African-American to host a talk show. Harry Belafonte, Robert F. Kennedy. Oh, excuse me. No, not Robert F. Kennedy. Kermit the Frog. I think it would be great to see even the Muppets. Let's bring the Muppets in. That'd be so funny to have the Muppets host every week. Once a week. Once for a week. but I mean, at that point, we got to see, and I know that was back in the early '90s, late '80s, when Carson was on his way out and he didn't want to do the Monday spot anymore. It would be that's a great place for. Let's go back to the Daily Show and doing the weekly guest host thing. That would be a great place to develop new voices. I mean, we've got these correspondents who now have this catapult. And as soon as they get the job for the Daily Show, they have a catapult into the world of comedy. Ronnie Chang, Jordan Klepper, Dulce Sloan, Roy Wood Jr., Desi Leidick, and Jordan Klepper. I mean, it's just, and Michael Costa. I mean, it's just, you have a handful of people who were probably just doing stand-up before and maybe a little acting things here and there, but now they're ushered into this world of television and film, and you can do the same thing for people who aren't as big. You can go ahead, you can get somebody who kills at Just for Laughs, and they've tried out for SNL, and they've tried out and they've written for other shows, but they just haven't had that break yet. And I think that would be a great chance. And if they did something like that this summer and just didn't worry about big names and didn't worry about ratings, which I know they have to, but if they could just do that for a week, bring in 4 different people who are good with stage pattern and do all that. I mean, it'd be fun to see Larry Wilmore as Zinnemann Wrights and Samantha Bee, Josh Gad, yeah, Eric Andre. I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be cool. Like, I mean, like even, you know, Ving Rhames. We got Mission Impossible coming out. Ving Rhames, baby. Let's do it. The host will keep rotating through spring, and then the new version of Daily Show will start in the fall. So I'm guessing they will go off for the entire summer again, which I'm not a fan of. That is those are the only the Paramount shows are the only ones that go off for like half a year, which is frustrating to see. That happened with Desus and Mero. Like, they would go off on their hiatuses for 5 months at a time, and then you would just forget they exist, and then they finally broke up. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got for you. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com. I talk to comedians, and it's great. If you want to listen to any other podcasts I make, there's the Constitutionals podcast, which is our premier podcast where I talk about entertainment business news, as well as LinkedIn Logs, where I try to get hired to jobs, and I try to become a LinkedIn influencer, the world's #1 LinkedIn influencer. If you want to see a video version of those shows, head to youtube.com/C+comedy, where you can see me sitting at my desk, and the sun is out and Nova's outside, and I've got a water bottle on my dining room table because I just biked back from seeing John Wick Chapter 4. Again, it was fantastic. I had a salad. While I was eating. I snuck it in my book bag because you bike there. Yeah, and then I walk in. I make a big show of me having bike. Like, I got my helmet. Okay, you can also check out News Time, which is like the Daily Show, except way less funny. Comedians with interviews getting interviewed on C+ Comedy. You can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at C+ Comedy. Me at Chad Black White. Rate, review, subscribe. Tell your friends about the show. And this is the end of the episode. We're gonna go out with music playing because that's how we're fancy now. We're good. We make good show and good music. We make a good show. All right. That's the title. We found it, baby.